Kia ora listeners, let's learn sumo. I'm Clayton. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to day 2 and 3 of the Nagoya July Tournament. A little bit of summer action in Japan. Rough start for the Yokozuna. Hoshoryu so far. Day 2 had him face Wakamoto Haru. Look, Hoshoryu has an excellent record against Wakamoto Haru with over 2 years of dominance, but not tonight. Wakamoto added to his pay rate yet again with another Kimboshi over a Yokozuna. Last one was over Terunofuji last year. Hoshoryu went in for the right belt low off the Tachi-ai, but missed completely as Wakamoto Haru pushed him down. Hoshoryu recovered and ended up with a left inside shallow body grip. Wakamoto Haru had a deep inside belt. They locked up and Wakamoto Haru only had the right hand. Hoshoryu had a deep left inside body. Hoshoryu was denying Wakamoto Haru the belt with his other hand and tried again. Hoshoryu tried to pull Wakamoto Haru off balance, but his belt grip was just too good. He used it to drive Hoshoryu back and over the bales into the alley. Look, it was pretty poor defense from the Yokozuna there. Yorikiri win, kind of giving them away a bit like candy, because on day 3, Hoshoryu faced newcomer Aonishiki. He's down in Magashira 1. Aonishiki, he goes for a Nodowa as Hoshoryu was looking for the belt. Hoshoryu got an outside belt. Aonishiki, he had the inside grip. Hoshoryu, he wasn't quite in a position to throw him, and he kept trying to move around to the side to get leverage off his hip for the turn. Aonishiki, he was lower and he tried a leg grab, but as Hoshoryu kept turning with the outside grip, he was just a bit too fast. His feet crossed over. He lost his wide stance and he went down sideways as Aonishiki got another grab on his leg. Hoshoryu fell first. Watashi Komi, thigh grabbing, push down is the Kimarite, another Kimboshi. The cushions rain down in Nagoya. Hoshoryu now 1 and 2, probably out of the basho this early on. Not a great start. 2 Kimboshi in 2 nights. Yokozuna Onosato, he just used his full power against Aonishiki the night before day 2. 2 good thrusts. Aonishiki just couldn't stop that power. Maybe that's what Hoshoryu should have tried. Certainly, I think it was maybe poor tactics to go belt for belt with a former Ukrainian wrestler, Aonishiki. I think he was probably better off to try and power blast him. Perhaps the Yokozuna should have watched what his fellow Yokozuna did the night before. Anyway, Onosato, Yokozuna, he used full power against Aonishiki on day 2. Day 3, he was up against Wakamoto Haru, and he got his 3rd win. He created a situation that forced a slip out of Wakamoto Haru in defense. Wakamoto Haru tried to go to the left off the Tachi-ai, pushed Onosato down, but under pressure, he lost his footing and he went down. 3 wins for Onosato. Wakamoto Haru only on 1 win after 3 days, but look, I'll tell you what, a Kimboshi is not a bad start to a tournament. Kotozakura, he is in trouble on day 3. Day 2, Kotozakura got himself a Yorikiri win over Oho. Pretty good Tachi-ai. Oho seemed intent on engaging in an Oshi battle with Koto, trying to keep him off the belt. He forced Kotozakura back to the bales, but Kotozakura got inside, left outside belt, right inside, I should say, left outside belt. Oho only had a right hand belt, and Kotozakura, he just had control. They locked up. Look, a couple of lifting attempts before Kotozakura got a good lift and drove Oho back and over the bales Yorikiri. Day 3, however, Kotozakura had a match-up with Takayasu. Now, coming into this match, they were 5 and 5 with a few fusens as well. Good, strong Tachi-ai as neither got a good belt grip, but both got an outside body grip and they locked up. Takayasu tried to move to convert to an inside grip as they split, and Takayasu got a hand on Kotozakura's belt. Kotozakura felt the belt and tried to get away. He was a bit overcommitted and he went down front ways. Watadashinage overhand open belt throw gives Takayasu 2 wins. Kotozakura's on 1. 2 losses. I'd say he's probably out of the basho as well. Onto Sekiwake Kirishima. He hankered Abi on day 2 after Abi hankered Onakatsu on day 1. And just to round it off, Abi hankered Wakatakakage tonight. So Henka's all round. Anyway, look, day 3 tonight, Kirishima faced Oho. Oho waited for Kirishima as Kirishima got in quicker. Kirishima ended up with a left inside belt and worked Oho back and over the bales fairly easily. Yorakiri for Kirishima's third win. Oho winless after 3 nights. As we said, Wakataka Kage, he had a win over Onakatsu on day 2. Big touchy eye. Wakataka Kage just kind of moved Onakatsu's arms out of the way, got an inside left, outside right belt. Onakatsu got a right belt, but he had nothing on the left, and he tried to drive Wakataka Kage back across to the bales, but Wakataka Kage, look, he's very strong. He literally pivoted, a big full body pivot using that double grip, turned Onakatsu back around and over the bales, only like Wakataka Kage can do, the Onosato move from last year. Now, as I said, Wakataka Kage lost to Abi tonight on a hanker, but it was telegraphed a mile away. I think Wakataka Kage must have been the only person in that entire building who didn't know there was a hanker on the way. So they set up for the fight, and Wakataka Kage was delayed a little bit, and he goes down, did a huge driving mata on a false start on Abi. And so they set up again, and I think everyone's sitting there going, well, Abi's seen the big drive, he's going to go for the hanker now, and of course he did. And Wakataka Kage fell for it. Abi then pushed him down, Hataki Komi. Poor tactics. Wakataka Kage 2 wins, Abi 2 wins. Every one of Abi's fights has had a hanker so far. Let's see if he can make it day 4. Oshoma, he's having a difficult start at his debut at Komusubi. He got overpowered by Hakuoho on day 2 and out and down Yori Tayoshi. Day 3 wasn't much better as he tried a slow hanker on Onakatsu, who went thrusting at him until he went out backwards. 0 wins for Oshoma, 1 win for Onakatsu. Hakuoho took on Hirodumi tonight. Hirodumi did well to get Hakuoho back to the bales, but he just couldn't finish the job, and Hakuoho was chasing Hirodumi with his body until Hirodumi ended up on the bales. A final yeet saw him pushed off into the crowd. Oshidashi win for Hakuoho, 2 wins. Hirodumi winless. Ichi Yamamoto, he's having a pretty good start. He looks pretty fired up so far. 3 wins. Win on day 2 over Tobizaru. He just basically chased Tobizaru and Oshidashi'd him out. Tonight he got in a little bit of a thrusting battle, or I suppose Chiyoshima did most of the thrusting, but Ichi Yamamoto, he persisted and drove Chiyoshima back and over. Good power win there. Ura, he's also on 3 wins. Day 2 against Atami Fuji. Got in low, got a hand under Atami Fuji's shoulder. Atami Fuji dragged him onto the bales, but Atami Fuji used both hands on the shoulder, swung Atami Fuji out over the bales. Look, he was under a bit of pressure when he did it, so it was a pretty good move. Atami Fuji lands first. They both go down the alley. Ura gets that win. Tonight saw Ura, he got a grab on Satanumi's arm after the touchy eye, dragged him to the bales, then quick as a flash, did a spin, got out of the way, left nothing but air for Satanumi. A push-out Oshidashi for Ura's 3rd win. Bit of a scramble win for Chiranumi tonight over Midori Fuji. Midori got into a position off the touchy eye, tried to pull Chiranumi over his hip, but he just couldn't quite make it work. It was very close. He had a pretty good leverage there. Bit of thrusting and an ole by Midori Fuji as he tried to get out of Chiranumi's way. Chiranumi recovered, attacked again. Midori Fuji, big thrusting drive. Chiranumi went sideways and there was nothing there for Midori Fuji. He went down. Hataki Komi. Midori Fuji did get the ole win over Takanosho last night on the bail, so only fair tonight. 2 wins for Midori Fuji. Kota Shoho, he's in good form, taking his 3rd win tonight. Win over Shishi on day 2 and Kusano tonight. Mita Koyumi also doing well down the bottom of the buns. K coming back to Makuchi, he's on 3 wins. I'd say Kota Shoho doesn't really belong down that far. He is easily a mid Megashira wrestler in terms of his form. He should be up around 8 or 9 to be honest. Mita Koyumi, well, former Ozeki, he really should be a lot higher, but his body's not quite working the way it used to. So we've got a Yokozuna firing on all cylinders in Onosato and one doing fairly poorly on day 3. Pressure is on Hoshoryu now for the rest of the tournament, and he would be kicking himself, putting himself in this position yet again with 2 losses. Day 4, it doesn't get any easier for Hoshoryu. He faces Abi. On Osato, he has a pretty easy win, I would think, over Oho. Kodazakuri gets Wakamoto Haru. I would say Wakamoto Haru is a good chance of winning that one. Aonishiki, he will have a hard trot with Wakataka Kage. That will be interesting. If I was Wakataka Kage, I would keep him off the belt and power drive him out. Look for the Henka, though. Wakataka Kage, Oshoma and Kirishima. Kirishima should win that one fairly easily. Onakatsu and Takayasu, that could be an interesting fight. Takayasu should win that. So it should be a really good day 4. Join me again, folks. Hakioi, let's learn sumo.